Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be closing out my January monthly budget. So we're going to jump right on into it. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you are not new, welcome back. My name is Janelle. I'm a wife and a mother of a one. And on here I do all things cashless budgeting. So let's get on into the budget. If you are new, just some church announcements. We are a dual income household. Me and my husband choose just how much money we want to put into our household account to pay for all of our bills and things like that based on just the amount of money we would like to live in. And then the rest of it goes into our savings or other things like that. I am debt free. My husband is still paying off some of his personal debt and student loan. And the household has a little bit of debt, just a little bit, okay? And that is what we are working on now to pay off. So this is what we expected for the month, which was $57.50. And actually, before we go into talking about how much money we were expecting to come in, I do just want to say that we are a month ahead. I know some people had asked how I got there. So kind of really quickly, when we bought our house, just like the time frame of when we bought our house, we had a gap in between us leaving our apartment and moving in where we did not have to pay a house note. And so what we did was, and I have my budgeting videos with that, you guys, we actually just paid ourselves our mortgage and like all of our utilities, but we just moved it over to that household checking account. So whenever February came, because we moved in December, didn't have to pay anything in January. When February came, we were already a month ahead to pay for those bills. And then the money that we were getting in February was just going into the account. Sorry, y'all. For March's bills. However, whenever my husband broke his back in like 2021, we used up some of that money, and then things kind of slowly started to deteriorate. And then in 2022, our mortgage went up $900, and I ain't even gonna lie to you guys, we were struggling. And so we weren't where we wanted to be, but I started to try and build that up. And then back in, what would that have been? 2023, 2024, I want to say, I just took pretty much our entire tax refund and just dropped that into our buffer, because I just knew that the way we got paid, we just would never have enough money each week kind of to cover everything that we needed to cover. And so it has been a lifesaver and a blessing to be a month ahead on our bills and not have to worry about when a check is coming in before we can pay our bills. So I do, though, budget based on what I expect for us to pay each month, or receive each month. So my monthly budgets will only show the actual income from actual W-2 income and not what's actually sitting in the account, just to avoid any confusion or me using more money than I need to. But if I'm over budget or something like that, I will add that into the other income category, and then just kind of write hey, we were over in groceries or whatever the case was, so this money came from that. All right, so back into the numbers now, you guys. So we were budgeting $57.50 because my husband gets paid weekly, I get paid bi-weekly, and he had a 5 paycheck month this month. However, we ended up getting $58.50, and that was because I just had an extra $100 from something. We got $13.54 in interest from Ally. We rolled over, oh, sorry y'all, I don't know why this happens, $34.88 from December's cashless spending accounts. And then for other, we got $2,200.81 from sinking funds and savings and additional monies that went to our spending accounts, which you guys will get to see the breakdown of that. Now, this is in no particular order, but we'll just start off with savings. So we originally budgeted $663.69. However, which is a good thing, We ended up putting in $2,576.54, and we were able to fully fund and pay our HOA and fully fund and pay my car insurance for 6 months. And so we're actually doing very well in that area. And I'm so happy for us because I love when we have extra money and I can see the gains that we are making with that extra money. Next, we had our debts. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. We had our debts. We had Chase. They all came out where they were supposed to come out. 114 for Chase, 251 for Discover, and then our water treatment at 107.86. I may going forward, and I probably should add a debt snowball tab to this. Whenever I am paying a debt snowball, to put it into the account and then show you guys just those transactions so I can track them throughout the month and then for the year. So I'll probably add that. It's not there now because I've already done that video, but later on I'll add that tab for like a debt snowball or something like that. So we spent $472.86 in debt. Now over to our bills. We don't have a lot of bills, you guys. Everything that we pretty much have is pretty much like the most basic things that you can have. So we have our mortgage, our daycare, which, excuse me, y'all. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, so daycare. In my annual budget, if you guys have not checked that out, please go ahead and check it out. It is in my playlist. It's my 2025 annual budget or budget series. And so all of my like base numbers come from that annual budget. And I got this from previous times. Normally in January, they keep baby girl in her old classroom and then they move her over to her new classroom at the beginning of February. However, they moved her a lot sooner, so they charged us less than what I was projecting. However, in my annual budget, I don't know what happened, but I just budgeted that same number for like the next 7 or 8 months. So it's going to look like I'm saving a lot of money, or saving some money, although I know that this is what it's supposed to be. So I budgeted 118, but I ended up spending 1053, and that 1053 also consists of her extracurricular activity that she does as well too. We had our ADT at 60.50, gas at 71.51, our internet at 86.60. And once again, I'm having another video and still have not talked to my husband about it, but I will make sure that I do. Our YouTube TV, I was budgeting it at 99.84. However, this month it came in at 106.35. Electric, we paid 86.66. Our utilities, which is our water, trash, sewage, and our exorbitant tax fees, was $110.90. And then we had 3 budgets. So we had a winter storm here in Texas, and I didn't even think about it because I have actual cash for things like this. Goodness gracious, I have cash for this exact thing. However, I did a Walmart delivery, and so I just paid it out of our household checking account. Or I charged it to the credit card, but I paid it back with our household checking account. And then we had our fantasy team. None of us won. It was a rough year, y'all. It was a rough year. That needed to come out, and the money wasn't not there. I had moved the money to our Ally account to make sure all of the monies was there, and I was just paying back the account, but I needed to remove it and then add it back. A whole thing, y'all, but it evens out. And then lastly, this is the rollover money that we're putting towards February, which was the spending accounts for 204.47. If I don't take this off, it's going to show as if I have $204.47 to allocate to things that I don't, because we do a zero-based budget here. And then over here, you guys can see our expenses breakdown. So we originally, or not originally, because I want to say originally was 1025 that I had budgeted, but we added money throughout the month, which we were able to do and stay within that money that were added and not go over. So we budgeted 1180.83, but we only spent 976.36. So that left us with that overage, that positive overage, to roll over to February. February is going to be very, very interesting because I've already gone grocery shopping, y'all. And spoiler alert, we are over budget, but we are eating clean for February. And I really did try to pretty much get all of the things that we could possibly need. So maybe I just don't need to go to the grocery store for the remainder of February. Maybe once for like a little bit more salad and fruit, but we'll see. That's for another day. But yeah, so those are expenses here. And then this is just the expense tracker. So I don't necessarily share this with y'all right now because I do it in my happy planner. But this is just the breakdown of everything. When I'm looking at my cheat sheet, this is what I'm looking at. As y'all can see, I have been doing very well. A lot of these things came out with cash. Anything that was like a Walmart delivery, I don't use a debit card and I never will on like an app that like I'm ordering stuff from. So a lot of those things kind of came from there, but I made sure that they were paid back. And so I'm able to see this. And the reason why I make sure this is also here too is because y'all, then I get to see the breakdown of everything. And then as I go over here, I can just see the percentage of like what's taking up the most of my, like my money. So my mortgage is at 39%. Now that is high based on the income we put into our, what is this called? Into our checking account. But when when we do it this 19, I want to say this is like 25%. Actually though, when we look at our actual like income, it's really only like our mortgage is really only like 15%. Like if we were to put all of our income together from what I make and what my husband makes. So this is not for all of those people who are like, why is your mortgage 40% of like your income? It's only just based off of the income that we're using here currently. And then I can kind of see everything else. My next biggest bill really is daycare and then groceries. So it's like really nice to see that. And one of the things that I love is I can see the breakdown of my payment methods, which I think is really cool because I don't know, I just find things like that really cool. So I can see what I've used there. And these are just also like bills. So I'm like, I didn't use Discover like spending wise, but I did use Discover because in our household bills, our ADT, our YouTube TV, our internet, they all get automatically deducted off the credit card and then I pay that back. And so they're Discover payments, but they don't come out of like our actual checking account. So that is just what our January 2025 monthly budget looks like. So the breakdown, and then we have some other charts over here as well. So as you guys can see, we are at a zero-based budget. There is no extra money that needs to be allocated anywhere. So our income was $7,901.23. Bills came out to $3875.47. Expenses, which is our spending accounts, were at $976.36. Savings, $2576.54. Nothing foreign investments, and debts were at $472.86. The difference, of course, if it's in green, we did better. If it's in red, then we did worse than what we projected. And this is what everything looks like, you guys. And now we're going to actually go ahead and close out our happy planner. So I'm just going to show you guys or talk about what happened in January. So we have our dashboard. Everything has been paid for, and all of the things that we had planned on here. Now we're going to go over to my monthly goals. My monthly goals were to pay 5% of my debt off, you guys. and I paid off 18.5% of my debt. So definitely check out, excuse me, check out my, this will come out before the debt update comes out, but when it comes out, check it out because you guys will get to see that. So that was a check for doing 5% of my debt off. I also wanted to put at least $102 towards our emergency fund, y'all. And I want to say we put $233 towards my emergency fund. So that was a win-win for this month. And then for January, lose 3 pounds. That was a no-no, and that is okay. So for me, I realized that sometimes I actually do need to just pace myself with all of the things that I want to do. If I try to do too much, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And then also because I had surgery in the month of January, it got a little tricky towards the middle to end of the month, and it was just a lot. And so I'm not worried because, like I said, February is like our healthy kick, and just choosing and doing better. So I think that I'll still be able to reach my overall goal of losing 10 pounds over the first quarter. So I did not do any exercise, and the no carb situation, yeah, January was a wash. We're starting again in February. For our check it off, I had a Zoom medical meeting that I completed. I had my dentist, which was a no-go, and that's now rescheduled for February. And pre-op, did that. I had my surgery. It was successful. As I'm doing this video, for the most part, I'm recovered, but the whole timeline is about 5 weeks, and I'm about 2.5-esque weeks in right now. So yeah, baby girl did her checkup. I did not open up my Fidelity because I told y'all that we are going to be putting a pause on investments right now. And I did not transfer my 401k. And let me tell y'all why. Let me tell y'all why. So my job from like December until like mid-January, they had locked us out the system because they were changing the way that they were doing some of their, or merging or whatever they were doing, y'all. It was not accessible. Anywho, I was like, whenever that's done, I'm going to go ahead and get this 401 transferred once and for all. Y'all, tell me why I went to go transfer the 401k and there is no money in the 401k. Like, where is my money? Come on now, Suzanne, we need to go and find you because where is my money? So I remember seeing that I got something in the mail from them. And when I saw it was over the weekend, so I was like, oh, I'm going to call them during the week. But then during the week, y'all, you're at work, you're doing all the things. Sometimes you just don't remember, but I am going to try to call them this week and just see, like, did they close the account and then just sent me a check? And then I'll figure out how I would get that money into my other 401k, or if not, I would just have to deposit it into my IRA and figure that one out. So we'll see what happens there, but that's where my 401k is. I feel some type of way. So really quickly, not to spoil anything, but for our debt tracker, we started off at 33,208.77. We now are at 27. Stay tuned for my debt update, and you guys will see all the goodies that happened over there. We had our weekly check-in. I did that closeout. You guys will get to see that. If you haven't already, that should be out, where I closed out our week 5 cashless spending. And then our sinking funds, we started off, I don't even know the whole number, but for our sinking funds, we started off at 2208.02, and we are now at 1784.65, which is not bad since I spent about like $2,700 for all of the things we spent for the month. And then for our savings, we started off at $1068.81 and we ended the month at $1405.35. So and I want to say altogether that was like $31.90 and some change. So we are doing the thing, y'all. That is the end of it for January. It was a successful month. I feel really good about January, and now we are going into February. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Baby girl is getting up from her nap, so finishing this just in time, and I will see you guys in the next one.